My name is Miberon Omoluju, and I'm the communications officer at Terra Skills and the host for today's conference. Okay, hope so I can be sure we are all together. Please indicate in the comments if you can hear me. Drop something in the comments. Okay, I see you. I see you. Okay, I see you, love it. Okay, Emerald. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So I welcome you all to the Future of Work seminar. And in this conference, we'll mainly be discussing on strategies on how to secure remote jobs faster. Okay, so we have two experts today with us, whose voices you'll be hearing pretty shortly. But before I invite them to speak, I would like to kind of set the mood for today's discussion. Okay, if you permit me. Um, so I'm sure we're all aware of the current situation of our beloved country. Literally everything is upside down. Is it the dollar rate that keeps going up every day, or the fact that prices of things have been skyrocketing? You can go to a store or the market to purchase something in the morning, and by evening, when you come back for that same item, the price has gone up. I don't know if you've heard these Instagram vendors or vendors in general who will be saying today's price is not yesterday's price. But now it has turned to this morning's price is not this evening's price. I'll give you an example. I saw a post on Instagram. I think it was Instablog that posted it about this popular actor Kunle Remy, where he was narrating his experience when he went to a store to purchase some items. So he said one of the things he wanted to get was a blender. Okay, so he checked the price of the blender and then proceeded to, get other things first before then coming back to get the blender. And lo and behold, within those few minutes he went around the store to get those other things, the price of the blender had gone up. He said by the time he came for that blender, a shop attendant was already there changing the price tag of the blender. Within those few minutes, he walked around the shop. That's how scary it has now become. But the thing is, even in the midst of this economic hardship that we face, the truth is that man must still survive. We can't keep sitting down and complaining, oh, the government this, Tinubu that. I mean, at this point, we should all know that the government does not care. It's quite painful to know this, but it's the truth. So the question now should be, how can you look out for yourself? Because at the end of the day, you still have to cater for yourself. You still have to cater for your family. You still have to pay bills and so on. So how can you keep up even with the current state of our economy? So it is obvious that to survive, you can't depend solely on just one source of income anymore. You need other sources. And that's the major purpose of this seminar, to discuss on ways to help you get remote jobs faster and generate other sources of income for yourself. So as we know, the world is going digital. So for us to be able to keep up and not to fall behind, it is very essential that we understand this evolving landscape and be equipped for it. And it's for this reason that Terra Skills has come up with a virtual tech bootcamp to equip individuals with digital skills in case they want to either travel abroad or work remotely, as the case may be. So whether you want to japa or you want to be able to secure jobs remotely, I highly recommend that you take advantage of this bootcamp. Okay, so you get to acquire digital skills like product design, webflow or back-end development, data analytics, or digital marketing. All right. So for anyone who is interested in knowing more about this bootcamp, I would be dropping the link to the WhatsApp group in the comments. So if you're interested in hearing more about it, kindly click the link and join, and all your questions about the bootcamp will be answered. Okay? Are you all with me? Please indicate if you're with me. In the case, let me see some hands up. Okay. All right, I see you. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. All right, thank you. So today's to, okay, I see you. Thank you, Moses. Thank you. So today our guests will be sharing their experiences with us on how they started in the online space and also share some tips on how they got to where they are today. So please, if you have any questions on their presentations, simply write them down or drop them in the comments so you don't forget, okay? And after their presentations, we'll have a 10 minutes question and answer session where all your questions will be addressed, okay? So, with that being said, I would like to introduce to us our very first speaker for today in the person of Miss Sylvia Ibe, who is an Instagram influencer and has been making big waves on the platform. Okay. So she will be taking us on the qualities of a remote worker. Okay. So, what are those qualities you need to possess to thrive in the remote space? All right. So, Miss Sylvia, if you can hear me, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, good evening, ma.
Yeah,
We're
good
happy to
evening.
have you.
Thanks for having me. Anyways, I'll be speaking on the qualities you must possess to easily find remote work, and I'll be tailoring it to what I do as a person. So, the first quality is on self discipline, and the truth is that everyone should have self discipline. But then, like when you have to work in the remote work field, it is very important that we are self-disciplined, and some of these some of these are important traits that every worker, every employee should have. And to do this, it is important that you set clear goals. And by clear goals, I mean you define what you want to achieve and you break it down into smaller, manageable steps. So you're defining what you want to achieve, but then you have to break it down, because when it's too much, it's like you end up doing nothing. You just set goals that you don't accomplish. It's also important that you create a routine, you establish a daily schedule, and you ensure that you dedicate taxes to these schedules. You also need to remove distractions, things like the media. If you're doing a remote job, you have social media, you have so many things to distract. You have your TV. You don't have it's not a 9 to 5 job where you have to, like, go to work and be accountable for things you do. Now you have accessibility to do whatever you want at your own disposal, although there is a schedule that the company would have probably given, but it's something you can always manage, and there's no one that actually sees if you're doing it or not. So it's always important that you try to remove these distractions. It's also good that you practice mindfulness. You always stay present and aware of the things that you're doing. It's also important that you always reward yourself. So whenever you do something that you feel like, I must have done something great today, or I exceeded my expectations, it's always good that you reward yourself. This way you always stay disciplined to yourself. Another one is communication prowess. So communication is very, very important, and it's always good to be actively listening. You need to pay attention to what people have to say. You're working in a space where you might have a team of people and you have to, like, work with those people. So it's always important that you're actively listening. It's always important that your statements are clear, and you use simple languages, and you organize your thoughts so you're not everywhere. Your statements are clear, and you're communicating as possible as you can. And it's also good to be aware of your body language. So your body language, your facial expression, your gestures, these are, like, people you are working with teams that probably would not physically understand who you are. It's a remote job, and people like this would not, like your, maybe your HR, he doesn't know you. He only knows you through the internet. He only knows you based off of what he sees. So if you have like a gesture, or like the few times you have to speak to these people and there's an attitude going on, it's going to be very difficult for people to tell that, oh, this person in real life is not like this. Why is this person like this? Maybe they're having, they won't understand. They won't want to understand. So it's always important that you are very aware of your body language. You have to show empathy. You have to also practice to always engage in conversations. Now, moving on, you have time management. Time management is very crucial because you're working in a space, like I said, where there is no monitoring, but then there are deadlines. And once you're unable to manage your time and you're not able to meet the deadline, then there's a problem. And once this problem comes into play, it's like you're either losing your job or there's a demotion. There's always something that has to go on with your stability. So why would you not manage your time properly? So what do you do in this case? You prioritize tasks. So there's a task you need to do, and there's another task. And this one is very important. It's always good to prioritize that. Oh, this is the most important and it's urgent, and I need to tackle it now. That's how you manage your time. Another one is to create a schedule. So yeah, the company has its own schedule, yeah, but you can have your own personal schedule, because the company probably would go for break and that's the time when you feel like working. So it's always good that you have your own personal schedule. You create one. You set deadlines. So as much as there are deadlines for work that must be done, it's also important that you set your own deadline. Try to beat the deadline. It's always very good. It shows that you are managing your time effectively. And it's good to also break taxes into smaller steps. So there's a volume of tasks to be done, and you don't know where to start from. You start from the tiniest one that looks very easy. For me, that's what I do. I'm speaking for myself now. I start with what I know that I'm very good at, and then I proceed to do the ones that are very difficult. Because when you start with the difficult ones, the truth is that you want to get it out of the way, but the truth is that you end up not doing anything because it gets so frustrating, you leave it. But there are easier ones that you could start with and then flow with the other ones. So it's always good to break taxes into smaller steps. You also have to avoid multitasking. As someone who wants to manage time, it's not like it's multitasking is not good. It's just that it's avoidable. You can just do one thing and get it done right than do 10 things and get nothing done. So it's pretty much the same thing as breaking tasks into smaller steps. Then we move into technical proficiency. So for technical proficiency, it is super handy, especially in today's world where technology is everywhere. And what it means is that it means to be skilled and knowledgeable about using technology and understanding its concept. So, and one of the ways to stay in this form is to ensure that you keep learning. Technology is always evolving, so staying curious and to keep yourself up to date with the latest trend is very important. You also need to practice regularly. The truth is that the more you use technical tools, the better you will get at them. So it's always good to always practice to use things like this. You need to take courses. Like I say, never stop learning. Even our grandparents, most of them, they still want to go to school, they still want to accomplish so much. They just don't want to stop learning. So why would you even be in your early state of life and you want to stop learning? Take courses, learn something, be resourceful, be useful. You don't know where these skills is gonna be handy. The truth is that sometimes we're like, I don't need this, but you just take it because you don't know what life will throw at you. So it's always good to, take courses. You work on projects, you ask for feedbacks. It's also always good to um keep accepting criticism. It's not in a bad way, like it's like be open to it, and then you take the good one and you leave the bad one. The truth is everybody cannot like what you do, everybody cannot give you positive feedback, but the negative ones can be good, the positive ones can be a lie. So it's always good to be able to balance it. Adaptability and self-motivation, that's another quality. You have to always be able to embrace changes. Like, okay, I'm going to give an instance. When I work at as a social media influencer. There are times where I create content that I feel is very good for my client, and my client just comes and says they don't want it, they don't like it, they need something to be changed about it. The truth is, I don't want to do it because I feel like I've done the best I could. But the truth is that I have to embrace the change and just go for it. I have to be open to knowing where the issue is and like fixing it. It's the most difficult thing. People are not used to embracing change. They just want that thing to just be like that. But it's very important that we embrace change. We should be open to new experiences and ways of doing things. You learn from challenges, so you always have to. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow and learn. So in the field as a remote worker, it's it's always it's always important that you learn from challenges and you're open to growing. You always have to stay positive, keep an optimistic mindset, even when things don't go as planned. So this has to do with self-motivating yourself, still the same thing as adaptability and self-motivation. So you have to adapt to changes, you have to set personal goals, find your why, celebrate your small wins, encourage yourself. So they all go hand in hand. Another quality is result oriented. So being result oriented means focusing on achieving your desired outcomes. So it's about setting clear goals, working towards them with determination. And I'm going to be giving you a few tips to enhance your result oriented mindset, because these are qualities that would help you get a remote job faster. So it's important that you learn few tips on how to enhance these things so that you get that job. So you define your goals, clear identification of what you want to achieve. You break it down, you break your goals into smaller, actionable steps. Then you prioritize your tasks, you track your progress. So you always have to track your progress, because if you don't track your progress, how would you know there is a result if the result is positive or negative? So always regularly access your progress to stay on track and make adjustments if needed. Stay motivated, keep your eyes on the prize, and remember yourself of the benefits of achieving your goals. Being focused and driven will enable you to accomplish your objectives and celebrate your success. So it's an important quality. Like nobody, no employer wants to employ somebody who cannot provide results. Like, why am I paying you if the problem I have is still going to be there? So that's why you have to be very you have to be optimistic. I would say optimistic because you have to like want to find a solution. You don't want to just say, "Oh, I don't know what to do. Let's just leave it." Like nobody wants to employ somebody like that. So it's an important quality. And the last on the list is teamwork. Teamwork is all about collaborating and bringing togetherness, different strengths and perspectives. So to improve teamwork, because the truth is you cannot do a task. It's not like you cannot do a task on your own, but there are some tasks that require that you work as a team. So you should ensure that you communicate clearly with your team members. Keep everyone on the same page with open and honest communication. So communicate clearly, let everybody understand what is going on. That's how you work as a team, not because you know it you feel like I'm trying to get a raise or a promotion, I don't need to work with these people, they can do whatever they like, I'm just going to do my own and make sure that I'm the best. Nobody's going to know if you did it on your own. You are supposed to work as a team, so all the blames, all the celebrations will go to everyone. It has nothing to do, you're not special. And another quality is that another factor on teamwork is that you respect each other. So you value everyone's contribution and differences. So no man is an island on his own. You learn to work with people. You share the load. You divide the taxes. You give. You apportion what needs to be done to each person and get it done. You support one another. Be there for each other. You celebrate together. So it's a win-win. You recognize and celebrate the team's achievement. Remember that a strong team can achieve so much more than individually working alone. So they always say there's this adage they always say, two heads are better than one. In this case, this is what they mean. So thank you guys so much for listening. I am open to your questions. And yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Sylvia, for that presentation. I'm sure we have one or two questions to ask her. So as I said before, just jot your questions down somewhere, okay? So after the presentations, then you would have the opportunity to ask your questions, okay? So I'd like to introduce our second speaker, okay, in the person of Mr. Wills Ogboa. So Mr. Wills Ogboa is a seasoned and creative product designer, and he is also well versed in corporate branding and communication, graphics design, and web development. All right. So he will be taking us through the process on how to secure remote jobs. Okay. So, Mr. Wills, if you can hear me, kindly begin your presentation. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Let me check. Okay, great.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, great. My name is God's Wills. I'm a product designer, and today we are going to take a look at the step-by-step process to get remote work. Okay, so I'm just going to start my presentation from here. Share. Select the screen to share. Step-by-step process. Slides. Screen.
Someone download it.
Allow.
Man download them. One bar for one. Then it's on the Google Meet. Mama bar for one. Mama
Please
connect.
turn off your mic, please.
If there is such a
Ibrahim, please turn off your mic.
Okay, I think we're back online now. So I don't know if you're not speaking, you might want to mute your mic. We're all in the same space. Okay. Moderator, can you mute some of those mics so that I can hear myself? Okay, great. So how to land a remote job? So what exactly is remote job? So a remote job basically requires a strategic approach that focuses on showcasing your that's okay. A remote job is a job that allows an employee to work from a location other than the traditional office settings. Instead of commuting to physical offices, remote workers typically work from home, a co-working space, or any location with an internet connection. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this, I can see some people raising their hands. Any problem, any question? I think the questions are supposed to come after the presentation. So please take note of your questions and then ask them after the presentation. So the reason why I'm giving you guys the definition of what the remote job is all about is because most of the time, whenever you tell people remote job, they are thinking of UK, US, Canada. You can actually do remote job in Nigeria. You can actually do remote job in South Africa. You can actually do remote job even while in Abuja, right? So in case someone reaches out to you for a remote job and you get excited and the person says it's in Lagos, don't get disappointed. Don't be like, this one says now remote job now, right? It's also a remote job. So remote job basically is a kind of settings whereby you don't have to physically go to the office. But right now in Nigeria, what a lot of people consider remote job is actually when you are doing it abroad. In fact, most people, if you tell them you are doing remote job and you tell them you are in Nigeria, you are doing it in a company in Nigeria, they just laugh at you. They say that one is remote job, like remote television. So getting to know that remote job is not just, outside the country. So you can do remote job even within the country, right? So before you start blaming your village people that you're not getting jobs outside the country, have you tried the opportunities within the country first? Because they're actually opportunities, okay? But our dream is to make sure we get outside one so we can start earning in dollars. So when we talk about remote job, what exactly do you need to get a remote job? There is no two ways about this. There's no magic to it. To get a remote job, you need an in-demand skills. There's no MMM to it. There is no bring two people to it. All you need is to have an in-demand job, okay, in-demand skill. Because any company looking out to hire you is basically looking for the value you can bring to the team. So in order to bring value to the team in today's workspace, you need an in-demand skill, right? So these are the type of jobs you do remotely. Aside from this type of jobs, every other type of job, you have to physically go there to do them. But with in-demand skill right now, you can actually get remote opportunities, right? So what are some of these in-demand skills that you can actually jump on right now to get this remote opportunity? We talk about things like cybersecurity, product design, which I myself am into. We have full stack developers. These are people that build applications, that build websites and web apps, okay? We also have data analysts, we have DevOps, we have cloud engineering, and we have digital marketing. So these are some of the in-demand skills right now, okay, that you can get opportunities into remote working. Now, there are other in-demand skills, like healthcare is an in-demand skill right now. It's a profession that is in high demand right now in places like the UK and Canada. But then, these are not the type you do remotely. You have to be there physically, right? So we're looking at opportunities that you can actually get and work right here in Nigeria. And you can start earning in foreign currencies, or you can also earn in Naira, okay? So it doesn't matter. Even if you get it a place like Kenya, they are obviously going to also pay you in dollar. So it's not only foreign companies abroad, outside Africa, that pay in dollar. If you get a remote company in Kenya, in Ghana, of course they're going to pay you in dollar, because that is what the foreign exchange that you can actually use in order to pay you. So in order for you to get some of these opportunities, you must have these in-demand skills. So if you are trying to get into remote work and you don't have an in-demand skill, there is no way you are going to get it. Okay, it's not rocket science. There is no way. So the first thing you need to do is to skill up. So you have to first skill up. If you don't have skill, you have to skill up in any of these in-demand skills, right? Especially right now, if you don't want to go into coding, if you are not very comfortable going into coding, there are other no-code processes, right? You have some things like product design, you have UI UX design, you have no-code design or no-code developer. These are people that build web apps using no-code development tools like Bubble, like Webflow, right? You also have DevOps. You also have communication, right? You also have communications right there. So there are a lot of opportunities online that you can actually leverage on to get an in-demand skill and become more viable and more positioned for the remote work environment. So when it comes to where to get them, it is not that difficult. In fact, a simple Google search can actually show you where to get remote work. But like I said, the first thing you need to do is to make sure you skill up you must skill up. If you don't skill up, there is no way you are going to get these remote jobs. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is to what? Skill up. So let's take a look at where and where exactly can you get some of this remote work. So when you've skilled up, it's important to know exactly where you can actually get some of this. I'm trying to get my screen, sorry. Okay, it's important for you to know some of the websites where you can actually get some of these jobs. So let me come in here. Let me just bring this right here. Okay, so one of the most sought after websites, this is the one that is actually very trending now. The reason why I like this website is you are most likely going to see companies that are, that are remote friendly, because most of the time the issue with with websites like LinkedIn and some other job recruitment platforms, job board platforms, is that most of the time you see these remotes, but the remote is not remoting, because it could be remote US. That means it's a remote job, but they need someone in the US, right? Although sometimes we are all Nigerians, you can apply with faith. You can apply with faith. So even though you are not in Nigeria, you apply with faith. So if you actually have skill, if you actually have the skill you are looking for, some of these companies can actually, during the interview process, they can actually, decide to try you out, right? Maybe on probation. Since you have the skill, just that you don't have the location, they could try you out. So don't let that restrict you, okay? But website like this gives you more access to companies and startups that are what? Remote friendly. These are startups that that's wellfound.com. Like I said, this is my own personal favorite because I don't have to stress myself too much. By too much, I mean, when you are searching for it on LinkedIn, you might see remote and you apply until you get there. Right? So, but if you are looking for websites where you can actually see companies or brands or agencies that have distributed teams globally, Wellfound is one of the top ones right now, right? So if you come to wellfound.com, you can actually come, you can see the different types of opportunity they provide: front-end designers, Node.js developers, databases, full-stack developers. You can see a lot of things right here, okay? But please avoid all these websites I'm going to show you if you don't have the skills yet, right? Avoid them so you reduce your chances of getting high BP. So there's always this thing when you don't have the skill and you come here and you are scrolling and you are seeing the job opportunities and you start calculating how much you could have made, it increases your blood pressure, right? So please, if you don't have the skill, you should start planning on getting the skills. That is the most important thing you should start planning of, right? So Wellfound, I'll still come back to this side to show you. But this is basically the site. You register and you start applying. There are different kind of startups right here. And like I said, they are very, very, very remote friendly. Another one is We Work Remotely. So this is another website where you can get remote jobs, okay? You can just come in here and you can see a lot of jobs already posted here right now. You can see full stack, senior DevOps. You can see DevOps engineer, open stack engineer. You can actually search, right? You can search for, and this particular website also is good to check and see the kind of skills. Those are exactly those skills I already told you that are in vogue right now and are high in demand. Okay, you can also search. If you want to search, you can also search for a particular job and you're going to see them right there. So they are what? Remote friendly. Okay, so you can see all of them. You can see this one: full-time anywhere in the world, full-time anywhere in the world, full-time anywhere in the world, full-time anywhere in the world. But you can see this one, they say full-time USA only. But you are more likely to find full-time anywhere in the world kind of posting right here on this platform. Another one I like using again is Glassdoor. Okay, Glassdoor is great for for people looking for jobs, for applicants, because you can actually discover how much companies are paying, which will even help you in your negotiations. right? You can also learn more about companies. And once you come to Glassdoor, you want to search for, okay, I think I'll come back to this Glassdoor. There's something I want to show you there. Okay, you can go to jobs. Once you go to jobs, you can view some of the jobs that are actually currently open by when you sign in. And another one here is remoteok.com, but this one is tailored mostly towards full stack programmers and on the technical parts. So if you do something like Python, full stack development, cloud engineering, this is your number one website to search for remote jobs. Okay, so once you come here, you are going to see different positions, open position, and you want to go ahead and apply. Okay, now we have this one, Indeed works, but I always don't like using Indeed, but it works. Okay, it works. Why I don't like Indeed most of the time, like I said, they are job boards. It's always difficult to sift through them. Okay, it's always difficult to, you might end up, a lot of people complain that they don't have job, but what they don't realize is that even to search for job is a full-time job. Okay, and if you use Indeed, most of the time it becomes a 24-hour full-time job. In fact, you are even going to work more using Indeed than someone that is working. But the only difference between you and the person working is that the person that is working gets salary at the end of the month, while you get maybe more rejection letters in your email. So, but you can always try Indeed, right? You can always try Indeed. It needs a little bit of customization. So some of these things, customizing Indeed to work for you, these are some of the things you'll be taught, right? If you should register in one of those trainings, these are some of the things you are going to be taught on how to customize Indeed to work for you. Okay, and we have this another one I like doing is going to websites directly. Okay, going to websites directly. If you have a website that you are actually targeting, okay, maybe an industry that you want to work with, one of the ways to go about it is to go to those websites directly. For example, if I come to this Glassdoor, and let's assume I want to work with a company like Glassdoor, all I need to do is to scroll down on the footer of most of these websites. This is something that most people will never tell you, but we are giving you this information for free, right? On the footer of most websites, a lot of users don't even come to this website. At the footer, because most of the time, some of the jobs you see on LinkedIn, before you apply, you see that 10,000 people have applied already, right? So one of the ways to mitigate that, you can mitigate that is to go to your desired site. If you want to work with a real estate company, you can go to a real estate company's website, and then you scroll down. On their footer, you find something like careers. You want to click on those careers. Okay, they work faster than you trying to go through LinkedIn when 10,000 people have applied there already. Now, once you go to careers, you can see some of the jobs that are currently open in this company, and you can search them based on different methods. So since you are looking for remote jobs, you can search for what? Remote. And then you can see the opportunities that are opened right now on this particular company. Now, this is not a job board. This is for a particular company. If you come over here to this website, the same thing here. If you scroll down, you also see careers, right? So if you want to work with a SaaS company, visit different SaaS companies, scroll down and go to what? Careers. Okay, so when it comes to this technique is a little bit different, because what you're going to do now is to, once you get all these things, instead of just submitting your application, when you see all these things, you can see under, instead of just checking where you're headed to, you can see under product, we have all these things under product and under sales, right? So you can see all this customer success, and then apply directly for the ones that you want to apply for based on your skills. So these are some of the things you should get used to, some of the websites where you can get remote jobs, and also some other techniques where you can also get remote jobs. So over the course of the training, you would also be shown some techniques on how to network, because one sure way to also get a remote job is to make sure you network appropriately, right? So that is where to get them. And when it comes to tips, right, when it comes to tips, like I said, it's always important that you have a clear vision. So if you know the kind of industries you want to work with, it can also direct the kind of program you would go for, whether you want to go for programming, whether you want to go for product design, or whatever it is you want to go for, right? So also optimize your resume. Let your resume look like the job you're trying to apply for, right? Your posts and everything is to be strategic. So if you're trying to apply for, let's say, like in my field, product design, if I'm trying to, since I'm trying to apply for like product design, I should have a lot of case studies directly on my portfolio and also on my social media pages, so that when someone comes there, they can actually see what I'm doing, what I've done, and what I'm currently doing. So it's always important to do that. And whenever you are submitting, don't be the type of person that have a one CV fits all. You can't have a one CV fits all. So once you have your CV is basically like a base. And anytime you want to apply, you want to make sure you impute all the keywords that are in the JD, which is the job description. You want to make sure you have all those keywords right inside your CV, because the way these things work is, by the time you submit your CV, it will first go through what you call an applicant tracking system. And those systems, they are not controlled by humans. Instead, humans impute some certain keywords, and then these ATS on their own analyze for that job. You just submit your default CV. You will find out that the ATS will even screen you out before humans get to even go through your applications. So these are just some of the tips you should take note of. So if you have any question, you can ask right after the presentations, right? Okay, thank you very much for having me, guys. I think that should be all for me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wills, for that insightful presentation on how to secure remote jobs. Okay. So please, before we go into the question and answer session, all right, please kindly check the comments now. I've dropped a link to a WhatsApp group for anyone who wants to make inquiries about the Terra Skills Tech Bootcamp. Okay. So just click the link in the comments, all right, and join the group. All right. So moving on, I'm sure we all have questions for our speakers today. So if you want to ask a question, just click on the hand icon, all right? And when you are called upon, you can go ahead and ask your question, okay? Please, if you aren't asking a question or speaking, kindly keep your mics muted, all right? So it will be orderly, all right? So if you have any question right now, just click on the hand icon and you would be called upon. Okay, so Abike, please go ahead and ask your question. Okay, Abike, can you hear me? Okay, David Praise, if you can hear me, please ask your question.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. My own question is, can I just, is there how you guys can drop a link so that I can download this session again? Because it was from the beginning, some part of the beginning, my network was having issues, so I could barely hear you guys, but so I want to follow it all over again.
Okay.
So please, if there's a way I could drop a downloadable link from so I can watch from beginning again. My network was kind of a bit faulty.
Okay, sorry about that. Mr. Wills, any response to that?
Thank you.
sorry, which of the question? Is it about the link?
Yes, he asked if you can get a link to your presentation because his network wasn't good. If you can share your presentation.
There's nothing much on my presentation that is to be shared. So I don't know if this meeting is not being recorded. So it's not being recorded. There's really nothing much to be shared here. So, but I think I can just put them together as PDF and share later.
Okay. All right then. So anyone else wants to ask a question? Moses?
Okay. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Thank you, Terra Skills, for this wonderful time. As if you people knew, I had been looking forward to, a time like this. So once again, thumbs up to you guys, and thanks to the guest speakers. They've done a very marvelous job. So just to support the previous, let's say, the previous person who spoke about having a link, I was actually hopeful that this that he would share with us, because most of the times, because I'm a father and my kids are around, and I may not really have so much time because of their disturbances and all that. So maybe in my own private time I will just go through the presentation in my own little way, and then get the main gist of the matter. So Mr. Wills, please, contrary to what you thought, that there was nothing really serious in what you have said, there is a lot, and I really would be happy if you can put up something together that really, summarize what you have said. Then again, the first presenter, besides, from what I saw in her presentation, the slide looks simple, more simple than the presentation she gave. How do I put it? In her presentation, she made some very salient points that I know in her slide. I really wish this section was recorded, really. And then I'm really hopeful that Omoloju, sorry please, you said you have shared a link for the boot camp on the WhatsApp group, but I've checked, I've not seen anything. I'm really hopeful that moving forward from today's meeting, we are going to be having a more detailed and robust training section where we can really build on our tech skills. I believe that's the aim of all this, meeting. So please, I will be happy if you can actually drop the link so that everybody can see, and then the participants to the boot camp. Thank you. Let me not take your time. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, let me come in there. So for the presentation that I made, I've just been informed that this live session is being recorded and will be re-uploaded on YouTube. So you guys should actually check out the YouTube and get some of the information. But if you have any other questions aside that, you can drop them so we can attend to them. Thank you.
Okay, so do we have any other questions? Any more questions? Okay, so in the absence of no other questions, okay. I just saw one hand up. Emeralds. Okay, so please quickly ask your question.
Okay, thank you. Even if we acquire these data, is there some kind of percentage or assurance to get these jobs that we want or we are looking for?
Okay, so who are you asking this question? Who's your question directed to, Mr. Wills? Hello, Emerald, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you're directing this question to Mr. Wills, right?
No, it's not for any specific speaker. It's just a question.
Okay. So, Mr. Wills, can you kindly answer the question?
Okay, so one issue with in-demand skill, like the kind of skills we've listed here today, is that aside having the certificates, it has to do more of certificates. If you really know what you are doing, you won't, you have more guarantee getting a job. It's only difficult to get a job if you don't know what you're doing, right? And it all depends on you and the dedication and the time you put into getting better. If you have these in-demand skills, you are 100% guarantee of getting jobs, right? No company wants to lose money, so no company will hire you if you don't know what you're doing. So most of all the curriculums for the training have been put together to make sure that you get the required skills. So it's left for you to make sure that you put in your best, ask questions when necessary, and make sure that you achieve the aim of the training, so that you can actually get these required skills and then become the market fit for remote opportunities. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wills.
You're
So
welcome.
we've come to the end of this seminar. I'll just quickly call on Mr. David to round up today's conference, okay? And then we'll call it a night. Mr. David, if you're here.